Omicron is on track to become the dominant COVID-19 variant in this country and around the world. In response, provinces are racing to get booster shots into Canadians' arms. Here to discuss how its vaccine stands up against the new variant is Moderna Canada's Patricia Gauthier. She's in Toronto. Patricia Gauthier, thanks for talking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me with you.
So tell us, how does the Moderna vaccine fare against the Omicron variant?
So we have a three-pronged approach. And yesterday we just had data on one piece of that puzzle. So the data we have at this point is for the 50 microgram booster. What it's telling us is that the two primary doses of Moderna at 50 microgram, at 100 microgram, are still protective, but the level of immunity really drops with Omicron. And what it's telling us is that with a third dose or a booster dose at 50 microgram, the level of antibody titers really go back up to a level that is detectable and therefore more protective.
So if you're sitting at home right now and you have two Modernas, how protected are you?
Well, there are levels of antibodies in your body that are still detectable. So I can't really give you a percentage of protection you have. I think what we learned from the data yesterday is that the best force of protection at this point in time is to be boosted with a third dose of Moderna. And the data we have right now is on the 50 microgram. We will have data on a booster of 100 microgram coming next week. And at the same time, we're also testing two multivalent vaccines to see if those would be more protective against Omicron and if we should bring them to Canadians.
It's so much to figure out, isn't it? And you know, the whole thing is, relatively speaking, a new challenge. But one of the things we're hearing, of course, is that even when fully vaccinated with a booster, you might not be protected from getting the virus, but you would be protected from severe illness. So, you know, what are your thoughts? Should people be adjusting expectations of how an mRNA vaccine actually can protect them?
So I think what the mRNA platform and the Moderna vaccine have shown is that it offers really strong protection. 2 doses of the vaccine have shown 94% efficacy, which is extremely high for vaccines. Over time, what we've seen is at 6 months, it starts waning a little bit. Now, as we have variants of concern that are emerging, it drops even more. But being vaccinated is still one of the best tools in the toolkit to protect ourselves against the pandemic. And I would add here that the next tool is to really get boosted so that you maintain that strong protection over time and against variants of concern such as Omicron.
So Dr. Fauci yesterday was saying that the Omicron, his words, I think, undoubtedly compromises the antibodies offered by the first 2 doses of Pfizer and Moderna. Would you agree with that then?
What we are seeing is that, yes, I mean, there's a significant drop in the antibody levels. They're still detectable in most people, but it's a significant drop from where they were with the other variants of concern, or mainly against the Wuhan strain, which is the ancestral strain that we saw emerging early last year.
Moderna is currently advancing an Omicron-specific booster candidate. When do you expect to see results on that front?
So we're currently pursuing a 3-pronged approach. We are looking at the mRNA 1273. So the current vaccine we had data yesterday on the 50 microgram boost. We're now looking also at data on a 100 microgram boost. In addition to that, we're looking at a multivalent booster, which would be either the Beta and Wuhan strains together or Beta and Delta strains together. So we should have data on this as well next week. In addition to that, we are looking at a mRNA 529, which would be an Omicron-specific vaccine. We've proven over time that we can bring candidate vaccines to the clinic in 60 to 90 days. We've been working on this for less than 30 days, but at very rapid speed. So hoping to have more data coming in the next few months on this. And then we will assess at that point if we need to have a Omicron-specific vaccine developed. But we are pursuing multiple approaches in parallel.
Now, Anthony Fauci also says that he doesn't see a need for an Omicron-specific vaccine shot. Do you disagree with him on that then, if you're indeed going down that path?
We haven't seen the data yet on Omicron. What we saw yesterday is the first piece of the puzzle, telling us that a booster of 50 microgram brings the level of antibody titers back up to a very strong level. Now we're going to see the other pieces of the puzzle with the multivalent vaccines, the 100 microgram booster, and then we'll see if we need an Omicron. So I think it's too early for me to opine on this. We haven't seen the data yet.
Fair, and that's as I say, that's true throughout this whole episode, isn't it? Many provinces across the country are starting to expand their booster rollouts. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Trudeau said that the country's booster supply will be there to meet demands. Can you say confidently that there will be enough Moderna booster shots to meet the demands of this country?
I can tell you that there are millions of doses of Moderna vaccines right now in Canada. There's another shipment coming imminently, and we are working very closely with the Canadian government to look at when they will need the next shipments in early 2022. So there is a supply of Moderna vaccines for Canada in country and coming.
We've seen delays in shipments earlier. Do you expect the potential for delays as boosters are distributed, even if, as you say, there will be enough ultimately?
So what we saw earlier this year was really a new supply chain coming to life and really bringing doses of vaccines as soon as possible to countries across the world in this time of pandemic. We have ramped up significantly our supply chain. We are also now able to bring doses of vaccines for Canada from the United States, and therefore we have several options. So as I mentioned, there's millions of doses of Moderna vaccines here in Canada, and there's millions more coming. So I'm very confident that Canadians can get boosted with a Moderna vaccine, and we have supply right now in the country.
Thank you for your time, Patricia Gauthier, and we got through most of that interview before the light went out, so it's all good. Thank you for your time. It was very helpful information. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.